Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Well, it's Friday, and we're here. It's time for the BumbleKast. We have many questions that you folks have asked, and we have possibly answers to them. Maybe.
I mean, we'll do our best to answer all the questions from our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
That's right. There's nothing significant about today. Nothing. But we do have this question here from My Fish Eats Rocks. With Sonic seemingly confirming the existence of hell in Sonic and the Secret Rings, which ring did Starline go to, and how is he doing?
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. Don't remember that particular reference to the Secret Rings, but you know what? That was a weird game. I'm just going to take it at face value, and that's not the crux of the question. The question is what happened to our good friend Dr. Starline. And since you said rings, I'm assuming we're talking Dante's Inferno.
Oh, obviously.
And it's, multiplex of doom and gloom. And comment below what you feel, but I feel like we could narrow it down to 3 of the rings. He could be in the 4th ring for greed, because it was a greedy power play. He did want the Eggman Empire. At first it was he just wanted to be at Eggman's side, then he wanted to be his equal, then he wanted to be superior, but it was also with this delusion of getting back in his good graces. There was an idea of sharing, so I don't know if that's quite right. 7th ring is for violence, and he did some terribly violent things in his short career. Maybe not overt. He's not it's not like the typical vision of violence or the kind of violence we normally see in the franchise, but what he did to Surgeon Kid is pretty darn violent when you get down to it. I don't know, maybe it's up for debate, or just go all the way down to level 9, which is all about treachery. And he was treacherous against Eggman. He was treacherous against the heroes. He was treacherous against his own creations. He's just a crafty, diabolical so-and-so.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think he fits in best? Comment below. Let us know.
One suggestion I have received is that he is in it for lust, and it will not be explained. I think we know. Could be. Nah, I think the 9th Circle of Hell is a pretty fitting for him. It's what he deserves, Here's a question from Planet Breezy. I noticed Tossed in Space came out around the time of the 2003 North American blackout. Were any of the themes of desolation, dark sky, etc. an homage to real-life issues discussed in the news surrounding said blackout?
First off, that was before my time. I was not contributing to the book at that juncture, but I can say with confidence that no, it was not anything remotely related to that, since typically the book scripts were in production 6 months before publication, give or take. It was kind of like how we had the one issue where Sonic is drowning in oil, and when the issue came out, there was a massive oil spill, and it's like, how did you do this to represent the oil spill? It's like, no, I wrote that like half a year ago. It's a horrible coincidence, but there you go.
It's like having a pandemic start in real life as a pandemic is starting up in your comic book. It's like,
yeah, like Metal Virus was not a social commentary on COVID. It was just really, really morbid coincidence.
Yes. Was Tossed in Space the one that was made a lot of blatant references to Guardians of the Galaxy, or was that earlier?
No, that was Inventory story that ran earlier than that, I think. Tossed in Space, Sonic is beamed across the galaxy, and so he goes through a bunch of sci-fi tropey stuff.
Okay, I was thinking for some reason the Guardians of the Galaxy story was part of that.
No, that was just a 2-part Inventory story that they trotted out to buy some time.
Fill in the gaps, huh? As always. Huh?
Yep.
All right. Hey, we got a question here from Santa Claus. All right.
Oh, hey. Thanks for working so hard.
Thank you for listening. Merry Christmas. Thank you for helping me grant Doomy Boy his Christmas miracle. A fitting treat for a rare political leader in millennia to put his people before his child, wouldn't you say? Ho, ho, ho. Of course Ian can summon him anything, but how did you enjoy your own treats?
I actually got a box of high-quality chocolates as a Christmas gift from Sega.
Oh,
That was right tasty.
delicious.
We're still picking it, but Kyle, this is the type of quality chocolate where even through like the wrapping paper and the packaging paper, you could smell the chocolate.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff right there.
And my smell is kind of bad anyway.
Well, yeah.
I have a hard time picking up scents, and I could smell it. So I was like, ooh,
Okay.
this ain't no like off the shelf from the drugstore last minute thought. Here, we remembered you. Enjoy. No, this was some premium stuff.
That's the good stuff. Nice. That is delicious. Were they shaped like Sonic?
No.
No. They weren't like Sega branded chocolate.
No. It was just some
Darn.
high end chocolatier.
Aw.
Chocolate Smith.
Chocolate Smith? That sounds delicious. Now I want some chocolate. Oh, well, I had a lovely Christmas. It was a wonderful time, and I got some clothes, but they need to be exchanged because they don't fit. Well, they fit, but my mom didn't like them, and she's the one who got them for me, so kind of like, okay. I guess if you don't like them, I guess I have to go back. Yes, it was nice weather. I was able to have Christmas. We had Christmas outdoors, which is like wild, but yeah, that's not concerning to have it be warm enough to have Christmas outside. So yeah, yep. Had a pretty good Christmas overall. Oh, I did get the Mega Man X Maverick Hunter Field Guide book.
Oh, hey.
Yes, I have been wanting that book for a while, so I was very, very happy to receive it. And
it's written by David and Nadia Oxford.
Yes.
Friends of the show.
Yes. Yep. It's a great book. I've delved into it a bit, and I am learning a lot because there's a lot about these characters that are just kind of like, wow, they go in deep. They go deep.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I appreciate it. It's a very good book. It's very cool.
It was absolutely a labor of love on their part.
Oh, yeah, definitely. As a big fan, I do appreciate it. Big fan of the X series. All right, let's get into this question here from Scurvy Pirate Hog. In the latest issue of Sonic IDW, it was revealed that Eggman had always been impressed with Starline, just never admitting it until he defeated him. If Starline, Agent Stone, and Thunderbolt did learn that Starline is the only one of them who's impressed the Doctor, how would they react, and how would Starline rub it in their faces?
I think they've each impressed him in their own right. It's just he's not going to admit it to their faces.
Well, of course not.
Of course, if they realize that they're only going to get recognition posthumously, that's going to lead to some very worrisome competitions.
Well, I mean, they were probably already trying to kill each other anyway.
But now they can't, because the minute any one of them succeeds, the one that dies is going to get the recognition, and they can't have that.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So now you've got Stone and Thunderbolt and Starline tripping over themselves to outdo one another, but keep the other ones alive.
Oh no, it's terrible for them, but it's lovely for us as readers. I like it. I wish they could all exist in the same universe, and we could all have the things we love. Although it is funny, it's funnier them trying to not murder each other than it is for them to try and murder each other. To be fair,
I mean, it works either way.
Yeah.
I can also imagine a Jacob Marley-esque ghost of Starline just going, I won, you died. Yes, but I still won. You're dead, though. That's like the definition of losing. But it doesn't count since I won. You know what? Never mind. Just leave him be.
Oh, good stuff. Here's a question from Snowflame. Who would win in a fight between Base and Surge? Base doesn't have treble or any copy abilities, and Surge is by herself with no dynamo gauge.
I'm also going to assume that Base isn't held back by any kind of restrictions of not harming another living being.
Mm-hmm. Would he be susceptible to electricity is the question. Overload of electricity. That's the real question.
I mean, going by Worlds Collide, Surge wouldn't have an easy time fighting him, but she is built to basically be a Sonic, and they're known for destroying their robots, so she wouldn't be walking away unscathed, but I think she might clinch the win.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be a pretty win. Not even saying that she's got all her limbs intact by the end, but I think she'd come out on top. Like, technically collapsed on top of what's left of him. It'd be glorious to watch, though.
Oh, yeah. I think this is another instance of just let's turn Adam Bryce Thomas loose and let him try. Here you go, buddy. Here's your prompt. Draw a whole issue.
Here, Adam, here's 19 pages. They fight. Flip a coin, draw 2 different page 20s. Now everybody's happy.
Yes. Put them in the same book. Choose your own adventure. Choose your own ending. Oh man, that would be fun. But yeah, I guess it's all about that bass, huh? No treble.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Scourge time. Sonic and Scourge get teleported to the Pokemon world. How would Sonic's route and Scourge's route as an adventure go? Who will get which starter? Who will catch them all? And of course, will they face each other in the league? What, the Pokemon Puzzle League? No, I don't.
See, I can't see Sonic being your typical trainer. Number one, I imagine he's going to get beamed with Pokeballs left, right, and center because everyone thinks he's some kind of weird version of Lucario. But I don't see him capturing Pokemon and Pokeballs. That's too restrictive. You know, whatever team he has is purely by virtue of the critters he's managed to talk to and win over to his side. Like, okay, in this world, you put together a team of critters and you'll beat up other critters. All right, cool. He'll roll with it, but nobody's getting forced into Pokeballs. Nobody's hanging off his hip. Now, if they're going to come on the journey, they're coming of their own volition, if they can keep up.
I guess he is more of a Pokemon Ranger then, huh?
I guess. Scourge depends on what team is active in the region, but the minute he learns about the criminal element, he's going to take it for himself. Rocket, Yell, Magma, whatever, they're causing trouble. He's going to make it double.
It's true.
And it don't matter if he's got a Pokemon with him or not. He's going to kick your collective asses and take it for himself. And once he's claimed his criminal empire, then sure, he'll march on the league. You know, it's an establishment. He's going to tear it down. And Sonic's like, well, you can't have that. I might as well step in and stop him. And then you'd have your big showdown. I can't even begin to imagine who would have what. I mean, I know it's kind of easy to just say dark types all on Scourge's side, but I mean, come on. He is a dark type when you get down to it.
More like a dork type. Thank you for taking a drink right then.
Sonic, I don't know. It's hard to... I don't see him as a particular monotype leader like so many gym leaders. Whoever he's met on the journey that kind of goes with his flow, that is in sync with his vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever region he's in, you know?
Would Scourge try to actually fight a Mewtwo?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he probably would.
He'd get walloped for it.
Yeah. I mean, I know enough about Pokemon to know that.
Yeah, Mewtwo's a little concerned how many times is this guy going to try to hit him with his face before he realizes that telekinesis, unlimited range, you're just going to get thrown into the wall again. But, you know, whatever, he's persistent.
Typical Surge.
Enjoys his desire for battle, at least.
True.
Of course, I guess it depends on which incarnation of Mewtwo you're going with, but...
I don't know.
Let's not go down that Pikachu hole.
I have no idea. know nothing. I know nothing. I don't know. I didn't even know there were different incarnations of Mewtwo. I just thought there was Mewtwo.
Oh, don't get me started.
I guess this is like Sonic, huh? So many incarnations. Always. All right, here's a question from Sonic. You recently said you were given an official answer explaining Blaze's presence in 06. Was it that she was originally from the future but became their princess after being transported there? Was she originally from the Soul Dimension but got transported to Silver's future? Or was it something else? Can you at least tell us what it's not?
Again, don't want to get too into the weeds. Maybe that'll be a Tails tube one day or something. But she, maybe, I did not confirm anything. I said maybe. But I can say that she is from the Soul Dimension originally.
Okie dokie. And our last question before we take a break is from Noni. What would Mimic's Starbucks order be?
That depends. If he's ordering for himself, just coffee, black. If he hates you, then he is going to find every single permutation he can put on it. The custom order label is going to run off the cup. And then he's going to make a point of complaining to your manager when you get it wrong, even if you get it right.
Well, I mean, either way, it would be gross because it's Starbucks and their coffee is gross. So when the base is gross, then the rest of it just kind of follows. So, of course, Mimic would like that swill. Typical. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with more BumbleKast. We're back with Speedweed. All right, Ian, level with me. If Rothor was ever brought back into Mega Man continuity, like a legit actual Mega Man game, and you had to write him, how would you go about it? And yes, I will ask about his power level compared to Sonic and the cast.
It's hard to think of Rothor as a standalone entity not tied to Raw Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just tunnel vision on my part, but I kind of feel like the two go hand in hand. So to have Raw Thor reactivated, rebuilt, or whatever, independent of Raw Moon, I don't know. That's kind of hard to think about. Like, he didn't really have much of a personality to begin with. Or maybe, he's the vessel of what's ever left of Raw Moon. Or maybe he's built off of remnants of the old Raw Thor, and therefore he has the concept of what he was supposed to be, a champion for this grand celestial god, and now he's, an enforcer for Wily? That's it? This mere mortal human? He is the apex robot, and he's to serve this old, frail man? What do you mean there's fail-safes in the programming that he can't rebel? Damn it, he learned. So I imagine there's a degree of frustration. There's no joy in wiping out all the hero bots because it's just too easy. He should be built for more. He should be better than this. Something grander, not just some thug for a mad scientist. Or at least that's just off the top of my head. In terms of Sonic and company, he'd be one of the more fearsome adversaries, I'd say, but no more than any end-game egg boss.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. You got to be able to take him down with Chaos Emeralds, right?
Yeah.
Of course. That's important. You always need that. Yeah.
Like, put him somewhere around the lines of, what's the official term? Like, non-aggression general. That's not his name, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. God, Worlds Collide game would be amazing. Somebody get on that.
It would, but how would you play it? Because Sonic and Mega Man have completely different play styles.
I know. That's part of the appeal, I guess. It may be like Sonic Adventure 2, where you go back and forth between different play styles.
Maybe you just have, it's the 8 themed stages and roboticized masters, but depending on which character you pick, changes the stage style and boss style. So same tile sets, same bosses, but different approaches.
That could be neat. That would be cool. I would like to see something like that.
So, if you're a Sonic fan who's never played a Mega Man game, you can still experience it, and vice versa.
Right.
but you're not missing anything necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that would work.
Yeah, I'd like it. I'd like to see that. All right, here's one from the internet person. We're Team Dark working for Gunn in Force's episode Shadow. The dialogue definitely implies they are on a mission for some organization.
I don't know. I asked and don't remember getting an answer. So it's vague.
You don't remember getting an answer, or you didn't get an answer?
I can't remember which one. But it wasn't whether it was not a sufficient answer or no answer. There was no context, so it's left vague.
It wasn't worth remembering anyway.
It was inconcrete one way or the other.
Well, of course,
Concrete.
you know how this fandom rolls. You weren't told no, so they'll take it as a yes.
But I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense, honestly.
It does, but why would they do something that makes sense? I mean, why start now? Here's a question from the Might of Gabura. So in a BumbleKast Live, you said Platonism can/could maybe exist in the world of Sonic. I think it can, but not in the way of everything is not real, but the doctrine that abstract objects like ideas, numbers, concepts, thoughts, and etc. exist. Is this agreeable?
Works for me.
Sure. I do believe that ideas, numbers, concepts, and thoughts and stuff like that probably exist in Sonic's world, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I think those are all you can establish each as being referenced directly in some game somewhere. So sure.
Sure. Just not money. Except you can. Explain like you're talking to Boom Knuckles. What? Platonism. Like Plato. Like he's got a plate. Oh, delicious food. I don't know. Here's a question from Thevius. Ian, you've been writing Sonic for nearly 2 decades now. Ergo, you've been writing Eggman for just as long. I'm writing my own alternate universe story, and I want to properly understand Eggman's character, but I feel like I don't. So I thought, who better to ask about the deeper aspects of his character than you? Pretty much what drives his decisions, including and excluding destroying Sonic, and what makes him tick. I appreciate any and all answers you can give. Well, depending on who you ask, you have no idea how to write Eggman, Ian, so... This could be
Thievius clearly thinks I do. And
this could be
bought the question.
I know this just could be interesting. I get the feeling there will be some grumblings about this, but hey, you know what? Thievius paid for the question, so yeah,
that's the only one we care about.
That's right.
And also with the caveat of this is my interpretation.
Right.
It is not the interpretation. So
I don't know if there is the interpretation because there's been so many at this point.
No, the interpretation is whatever gets approved at the time and whether I like it or not. But yes. We're getting too meta here. Eggman is mostly driven by ego. And part of it is earned because he is a genius. He is incredibly gifted as a mechanic, as a coder, as a visionary. Just his work ethic alone is insane. But he buys his own hype. He buys into his own hype to a toxic degree. Everyone is beneath him. And it's not so much him putting down others, because that's almost he can be that petty, but it's more a matter of fact. He knows he is better than everyone else. And it's incredibly frustrating that nobody else can get on the program with him. And there's that underlying frustration that, of course, they can't understand. They're not nearly as smart as he is. But, that's just one of the hardships that he has to deal with because he's always right. He's always the smartest one in the room. He always has the answer, whether he has it or not. And in the moments where he can recognize his fallibility or is at least aware of his mistakes, he can't bring himself to accept that fault. Because he is a genius and he has no room for error. If there is an error and it is on his part, he just cannot stomach it. He cannot accept it. There are rare exceptions, of course, but we're talking general here. Your kind of default template Eggman, if you want. Sonic has become something that he accepts as a reality. He respects what Sonic can achieve for being this constant thorn in his side. He still hates him. He is that variable that he always has to account for. He's always going to cause trouble, but he can at least appreciate Sonic's ability. He doesn't like him, but he appreciates who he is and what he does. It's just, he's in the way, so he's going to nuke him every chance he gets. And he's going to love it because he's going to do it right.
At least try to. And miss.
It kind of boils down to that scene early on in Metal Virus where Starline tricks Silver and Sonic into walking into an explosive trap. And Eggman flips his lid because that's not how you do it. Sure, you could snipe him. You could orbital bombard him. But there's no victory in that. That's just the kill. You have to overcome. You have to conquer. You have to prove empirically your superiority. It's not just a matter of winning. It's how you win so that there is someone to recognize his victory.
Yes.
It's one of the big distinctions. It's probably the only real distinction between him and Eggman Nega is that Eggman needs a world to conquer. He can't just wipe everything out. Like, he will do some serious damage, but he has to have people to recognize him. He needs that context for himself. He cannot be a king of the ashes. He has to have someone to recognize him. And he can sometimes fill that void with the sycophants like Orbot and Cubot, but that doesn't scratch that itch. He knows that he's built them to do that. He needs others to acknowledge him on his terms.
Mm-hmm. There's a moment in Frontiers that actually pretty much outlines almost what you just said about him. So, yeah. No spoilers, obviously, but I mean, there's definitely a bit of that in there too. So, yeah. I love Eggman. He's such a fun character, you know? There's more depth to him than you might expect, too, for just a maniacal world takeover type villain, you know?
General rule of thumb when you're trying to write Eggman, if you've ever had that really snarky, cruel response that you know you shouldn't make because it's just going to cause more trouble, he's the one who'll say it. He is your outlet. He is the mean you. And just be smart about it.
Yes. All right. And we got a question here from The Cartoonist. We're deep into the winter season, so let's talk about Batman Dark Knights. Get it? I suck. What are your guys' favorite Batman the Animated Series episodes? Does Heart of Ice hit you hard in the feels? And does chicken soup really work that well as a weapon? If it's hot enough, yeah, probably.
Here's the thing about Heart of Ice is I went back and watched it not too long ago, and it's like, wow, this is way more comic booky than I remember.
Well, I mean, the whole show kind of is.
I know. It was so much more profound as a kid, and going back to it, it's like, ooh, this is silly.
A little bit,
but the execution is done with such conviction that it still works. And especially with this interpretation of Mr. Freeze, is there's that human element to it where you want him to win, kinda. And I think that's what Batman the Animated Series did overall with most of the villains, is at some point or another, you kind of go, okay, I get where you're coming from. I feel bad for you a little bit.
Yeah.
Some more than, like Baby Doll. Not my favorite villain, not the strongest episode necessarily, but, you know, at the end when she realizes that when her illusion breaks and she says, why can't you just let me play pretend? Or the episode where Bruce has been locked in an AI reality for the longest time by the Mad Hatter, and he breaks free and he's like, why did you do it? You have the gall to ask me that. I would have given you I would have given you any world you wanted just to get you out of mine. It's like, Jesus. The dude's dressed like that, and he throws out a line like that.
Yeah.
And collapses.
It is such a good show. Oh, I've been rewatching it, I suppose. is one way to put it. I haven't really watched it since I was a kid, so I guess actually fully watching it in full. And I just got to the episode Almost Got Him.
That's
and
a good one.
That is a very solid episode, yes. Yeah, that's a very fun episode. Just everybody just recounting their closest times they almost got Batman. All the villains together.
I threw a rock at him. It was a big rock.
Yes. It's such a good episode. That one's fun.
Going back to did you get to the Harvey Dent, the Two-Face origin?
Oh yeah.
Two-parter?
That's pretty early on, I think.
Like, going back to that, how candidly they address the stigmas against mental illness.
Yeah.
Was like, whoa, like there's no sugarcoating this. You're just straight up saying it.
Yeah.
And Bruce is being very, supportive. I, for one, am proud of you getting the help you need. It's like, this is good. This is good television.
In 1992, no less.
And it's one of the weird ones where, like, a lot of the two-parters, it's kind of weaker in the first half and nails it in the second half, like Feet of Clay.
Yeah.
First half, a little budget, a little slow, but then they get the Japanese team in, and Clayface is just, chef kiss. Oh, my God.
Yep.
And then, like, it's the inverse with the Two-Face one, where the first one is just, firing all cylinders, and the second one's just kind of...
Yeah, the second episode is not really a super satisfying ending compared to just the buildup of the first episode on that one. But, man, it is good, though.
I can't remember if it was the pilot or what. Just the animation quality in general was through the roof. But the first Man-Bat episode,
yeah,
like the texture work on that alone was just, oh my God. And the whole, like, B-movie mad scientist monologue that Langstrom goes through, and it's like, he needs one more ingredient, and it's in me. And then does like the whole werewolf-esque transformation. It's like, this is still a little spooky.
Yeah. As for a first episode, it's like, oh, okay.
Let's include the movie too, because it's arguably the best Batman movie. Period.
Ever. Yeah. Beware the Grey Ghost was a fun episode. I appreciated Adam West being the kind of the Batman inspiration, as it were, playing him. So yeah, that was a good episode. I like the Grey Ghost, kind of realizing he can be a hero in real life too, he's not just an old wash-up actor. So.
I also like the ones where they showed Bruce's journey in minor flashbacks. I mean, the Zatanna team-up episode.
I don't know if I've gotten that far yet, but that's okay.
Okay, well, I mean, spoiler alert on a 20-year-old show.
That's fine, go ahead.
But, like, he's going to team up with Zatanna, and it's shown that in his youth, he trained under her father, and that's why he's such a great escape artist.
Right.
That's how he learned a lot of his, nearly magical ins and outs. And this is before they leaned heavily into the greater DC universe. So it wasn't played as actual magic, but like sleight of hand. And I really dug that. God, and even some of the ones that were like, this isn't that exciting as a kid, going back now is like, oh wow, they were trying really hard with some of these, like
there's a
lobster.
There's a lot more depth to this show than I think a lot of kids realized at the time. Was like, yeah, this may be going over your head now, kids, but you wait.
Like, there's that whole episode with the mobster who's, got this chance to go straight and, turn things around. And it's really just this morality story of a kid from the wrong side of the tracks who just continued to make bad choices and doubling down on it, and has this chance of salvation, and Batman's there.
Yeah.
As a kid, it's like, where's Batman? Why is he fighting like a monster? And it's like, oh, wow, no, this is a really deep moral quandary episode. And a little detail that I don't know if it's intentional, but it seems to fit is, mob boss Rupert Thorne has his femme fatale secondhand lady Candace
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's the episode with Bane where Batman reveals that she was planning on colluding with Bane to oust Thorn. And it ends with Thorn yelling her name angrily, and you never see Candace again.
Oh, no.
I don't think she shows up in any episodes after that.
Oh, no. That's dark.
And I don't know if there's any more real mobster-centric episodes after that, so maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I seem to remember on a rewatch of the series, I'm like, wait a minute.
Ooh.
And then there was the one in when they moved into the Arkham Knights more angular art style.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the whole thing is a nightmare sequence. So they get away with murder, quite literally. The whole premise is Barbara Gordon dies and Jim finds out her identity, loses it, and goes to war with the Bat family.
Right.
And nothing is sacred. And it's like, what are they doing? Have they gone crazy? And it's like, oh no, it's a Scarecrow episode. Fear toxin, sure, whatever. Yeah.
Of course.
But
can't have any lasting consequences.
But like Scarecrow's redesign and that was just creepy. And like one of the best premises they did with his gimmick was when he starts releasing a toxin that inhibits fear, that removes fear, and what that causes in others. And Robin has to take down Batman because Batman isn't afraid of going too far. And I don't know.
There's so many good episodes of the show. I mean, like even the quote unquote bad episodes are like still entertaining.
I mean, the one where Selena gets turned into a anthro is kinda,
okay, that's odd, but you know.
The one where the plucky kids protect Batman from the Penguin.
The writer's barely disguised fetish. That's one thing, but you know.
Yeah. Lockdown here.
There's obviously not always going to be good episodes. It's a very
gotta cherry pick.
It's a very long running show. It had a lot of episodes, so you know. The
second movie wasn't that great.
Makes some sense, you know. Makes some sense that there weren't some great ones in there. But
even the one,
I do got to give a shout out real quick to Harley and Ivy as an episode.
Oh, that's where that started, yeah.
Yeah, that laid a whole lot of groundwork for a lot of things. Yep.
It's so funny to think that Harley was just meant to be a one-off.
Yeah, I know. She wasn't supposed to come back or be a major part, and then now she has her own freaking everything, including her own show. Wow.
And then just, the legacy of it, the crossover into Superman, all the elements that carried over into Justice League, the entirety of Batman Beyond. I don't know, man. It's good.
It's very good, yes.
Some of it is a product of its time, sure. But
yeah,
there's
a lot of it that was
show.
There's a lot of it that's ahead of its time. It's not. No.
It's an all audience. I'm not going to call it a family show necessarily. It's an all audiences show when you get down to it.
No, yeah,
some more than others.
It's not a kid show. Not really. No, it's surprisingly dark, and it's like it doesn't even try to be dark. It's not being edgy for edgy's sake. It's just a dark show. So
I don't know, man. When Joker's got Batman headed towards the incinerator. And he's like, I'm going to melt you like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Well, I mean, that's just funny.
Only because it's Mark Hamill and he makes it funny. That's freaking dark, man.
Well, it's dark, but it's Joker. This is just what he does, you know? There's some edge, but it's not like, we're not talking Shadow the Hedgehog here.
Where's Dr. Hugo Strange and he's trying to auction off Batman's identity. And they feel like they're being duped and they're going to throw him out of the plane. It's like, okay. Remember, it's not the fall that kills you. It's the sudden stop at the
end. They treated Joker like how you treat Eggman.
More or less. I mean, it is a contributing factor to be sure.
Yes. Oh, man. God, such a good show. I will miss Kevin Conroy. I will say that. All right. Well, after we've had our fun with going off on that tangent, let's go ahead and hop on over to the Frontier Spoiler Zone. This is your final warning. We are getting into Sonic Frontiers spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled about the game, then you just don't go any further. We'll see you next time. But if you do, well, let's go ahead and go into it. Starting with Supernova. And how would Sage feel about Shard, since she's, in a way, her brother, but he's a defector?
I think there's some confusion there in the pronouns, but I get what you're saying.
He's, in a way, her brother. Yeah, there we go.
He's her brother. Yeah. But it's already a bit of a tongue twister by saying Sage and Shard and she and... on the one hand, she would be incensed because how dare you betray father. On the other hand, he is fully autonomous and self-realized, and that's something she's still kind of aspiring towards. So what could he teach her? Maybe a little pointer or two. Not that she really wants to learn too much because she's completely devoted to father. How dare you imply anything to the contrary? I will destroy you. But before I do that, could you maybe, give me a little insight into the whole ego est thing? Maybe just to have it on file to analyze later. Maybe.
Yeah. I will also say that these questions, them being Frontiers spoilers, is very, they're very dubious. I don't know how much actual spoiling is going to happen here, but I figured, they mentioned Sage, so we might as well throw them in the spoiler zone.
I mean, the whole game is built around the mystery of her identity and her growth. So
right, yeah, she's a major character in the game. So
better to be cautious here towards the tail end of the reasonable spoiler window.
Yep. All right, here's a question from True Cosmic Digi. What if Genshin Impact and Sonic crossed over? How would the gang take to humans? What would their elements be? Along with, how would Eggman and Sage take to being Archons with a nation of their own?
Let's unpack this a bit by bit. Sonic and humans, not an issue. They already know humans on Earth. This is just kind of a different tech level for them.
You've already written this, haven't you?
No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I will say
you must be too busy playing Genshin Impact.
When I have the time. I will say, though, that I could see, with Frontiers having established the open world, run at your own pace, beat things up in the field mechanic, just imagine a fully realized South Island. And I don't just mean Sonic 1. I mean like the Game Gear games that take place on South Island, an actual fully interconnecting South Island with like Labyrinth Zone as a true subterranean area, kind of like how the caverns are in Sumeru. Like if you played Genshin and you're envisioning what I'm seeing, like Tivat, but it's South Island, and just run around as all the characters, switching on the fly, battling badniks in the field. It could work. There's enough of a roster and a ravenous enough fan base to support I don't want to promote gotcha, but come on, it could work. Sega money table on it. Anyway. Elemental affinities, I'm gonna leave this up to the comments section for the most part, but like Sonic, I know he could maybe be Anemo, he could maybe be Electro. I mean, he's supposed to be more free as the wind type of theming, but we've seen a lot more electrical visuals with him circa the movie and Frontiers. It could go either way. Knuckles, I feel like he's Geo. I mean, come on now. Tails, probably most likely Anemo, probably more of a support unit. Amy, let's steal from Prime and give her Dendro. Its symbol is kind of heart shaped. She's got a heart theme to her. Why not? Hit the ground with a hammer, make some plants explode. Why not? I don't know. Eggman Empire being a whole region, maybe. Okay, maybe. He conquers a region of Tivat to claim his own. I don't know if that would make him an Archon. Straight up. That's a bit much for me. That's a bridge too far. Maybe I will change my tune once we get to Fontaine, because they seem like they're very steampunk clockwork, and maybe we'll see a mechanical side of this. Of course, given the way the Academia went with Scaramouche and their mechanical god, the tech level is debatable. I still don't see Eggman or Sage becoming like full on Archons, because then they'd have to be recognized by the heavenly principles, and that they're outsiders, they're descenders more than anything else. I don't know if that would really mesh, but yeah, I don't know about that. And if you're just sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about? That's a whole other discussion.
People
go to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, become a YouTube member, ask me about Genshin. We'll get into all those weeds.
People are asking if you could list the names and the elements of names of the elements and what they mean, at least, so people
okay. Yeah. Well, let's
it helps people out.
So Animo is wind, and its principal interaction with all the other elements is to just react with them. It's kind of the big gameplay element is interelemental interactions, and Animo goes with everything, pretty much just whoosh, gust of wind causes a reaction. Electro is electricity, pretty obvious. Pyro is fire, cryo is ice, hydro is water, Geo is earth. Geo is special in that it doesn't really react with everything so much as it's kind of inert. If it reacts with an element, it creates a shield for you against that element. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a reaction. And then Dendro is the latest one they've introduced, which is plants, plant life, vegetation. And it's a little funky in that it interacts only with electro, pyro, and hydro in its own special ways. I don't want to get into all that here because that's not really the basis of the question. But, real simple. Animo is wind, electro, pyro, cryo, hydro, geo. Those should be self-explanatory. And then Dendro is plants.
Alrighty. Interesting to consider plants an element separate from earth, but sure.
Well, there's what is it the Chinese
geo
traditional
would be
elements?
more geological, which is not plant life, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think it's the Chinese traditional elements that's fire, water, wood, and metal.
Oh,
so
right.
there is some basis for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that makes
tie it into other stuff I've worked on with Rivals of Aether. Their earth elemental is kind of a combo of stone and plant life, because earth is
both
kind of a big basis. So
yeah. And Animo, and emo. That's what Shadow would be, huh? No, not really.
Well, again, this is one last tangent, but Shadow would be whatever Dainsleif turns out to be when they finally release him. Okay, we'll figure that out when we get there.
All right. And our last question on this episode, it comes to us courtesy of Windstar Osprey. With the reveal that a version of Styx exists in the mainline Sonic universe, does this mean that other Sonic Boom characters like Soar the Eagle, Comedy Chimp, and Dave the Intern also exist and can be used in the comic if Sega allowed it? I remember hearing that Styx is owned by Sega, but does that apply to the rest of the Boom cast?
Styx is not opening the door to the rest of Boom. Styx has a small sample of existing in the modern universe already, just nothing like major, but she has been featured in other modern media. So she is a modern character, just very niche. The rest of the Boom cast can't make that claim. They are very decidedly Boom and Boom universe. So I'm pretty sure they're retired with the rest of the brand.
No, Dave, come back. We need Dave, please. Can't leave him behind.
Until I saw Matt Burger.
Please. All right. That's enough of this BumbleKast.
Before we go, we need to give a big thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for making this show possible.
Comedy Chimp is trapped within his own comedy void. Poor Comedy Chimp. Someone get him out of there.
Big thank you to Daniel H., Jennifer R., John B., Robotnicum, Sam Cybercat, Samuel P., Torchbound, Mike B., Andrew D., Dave M., Saluchcat, Coupling Crew 128, Jay Frost, Duis Dizdin, Hero of Light 13, Noni, Professor Scruffy Matt, Chris A, Sony, Triforce Riku, Sonic, John M, Jib, Yummy M, Fiona M, Lee HK, Lisa M, Ben Mulspain, Scurvy Pirate Hog, Chevelle, Arc Fighter, Keeper of Monsters, Axis, Xanderoni the Painter, Tick Tick, Jonathan D, Starlight Sec, The Name is X, Twilord, Solera Stain, Nemric, Godzilla, Nonda, Cameron H, The Disgayan, Ava Arctic, Justin S, Dove, Just a Mountain Soul, Alex GS, Chaos Sonic 1, Dadler the Dalek, Sonic Legacy, Ink Thinks, Pedanticat, Les, Jennifer H, Jolene B, Red the Supernamic, Alpha Bonor, Yukon, Joshua S, Omega Watt, Yuma 221, Of the Stars, Nova Polyduo, and Tails, Preston M, Noah S, DeRucival, Kojiro Highland, Sonic 84, Awesome Cakester, Supersonic Fan, KJB, Radry, Chase L, Wildcard 717, Z Broadcast, Callan Q, Jay the Redneck, Miles the Prower, Navari, Exidel, Agent Kaz, Puppy the Scholar, Rhythm Raccoon, Indabin, Pigdan 20, In Zephyr, Ozjam, Shimmy M, Curly Quills, Angela V, Aiden S, The Marble Gardener, Mox, Miggy Sawdust, ONBD, Jack C, Wheelie Doe, Sandra BH, Smiley 21, Sammy S, Bushman, Crooker, Vlad, IPC, Sterling Sonic, Congo, Windskull, Supernova, Superior Pizza, Sonic Padge, Philippus Cold, Michael P, Thigolf, The Crucified Devil, Loop D Loop, Omega Man 21, Thievius, Delta God 77, Dominic the Raccoon, Planet Breezy, Unity, Kedrian, Lori L, Native Nerd 27, Jason G, Cody G, Marcy H, Caswell, Mr. Murderbird, The Giant Murdering Bird, Lucky Lychee, Sir Needlemouse, SP, My Fish Eats Rocks, The ID Card, Phil C, Jonathan F, Hip Kid Brick, Levi C, Will the Prophecy Come True, Tetsu Knife, Ultra Guy, Crowbo, Nils, Sonic Mania 2099, Adronis, Salato 02, Noob 600, Paley, Bug Party, Hey Boys, Razor, Danny the Light, True Cosmic Digilab 79, Zapon Syrian, El Technopata, Butter Noodles, Miles Prower D, Frost the Hobbidon, Metamode, Wheels 282 Hedgehog, Jamal S, Finest Cacophony, Happy Times, Joestar SSB, Many Hats, Damien That Hedge, FMS Draws, Santa Claus, Snowflame, Scourge Time, Speedweed, The Internet Person, The Might of Gabora, and Zig Cartoonist.
All right. Wow. Incredible list as always. Just, I have nothing to add. I have no names to add because that's all the names ever. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Bye, funny monkey. Spin. Starbucks is never sponsoring this show.
That's okay.
To which I say, good. We don't need their money. Well, I mean, we do, but yeah. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Was there something significant about January 6th, or am I imagining that? Oh, yeah. Other than that, yeah. Okay. Yes, there was. I was thinking of something else. I thought there was something less. Yeah, I thought there was something a little less, you know.
Did a mental dial tone. It's like, is he being facetious?
No, I did a mental dial tone because I couldn't think
is he setting up for the joke?
No. No. I was just trying to think of, like, jokes I could make at the beginning of the show, but I ain't going to make a joke about that one.
No.
No. Let's not talk about that. Like, wait a minute, January 6th. That sounds significant in some way. Oh, wait, never mind. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad ever happened.
It's the Ides of March. Something happened on the Ides of March.
Well, March 15th, you know, the Ides of March.
Really guess. I'll take a stab at it, but I don't quite remember.
That's also the anniversary of NGI, so that's probably not good. That would explain a lot, I suppose.
Hey, too, Kraus.
Yep.